Your AI is never gonna touch Gemini.
Well, we'll see about that. Good morning!
No, we just have way too much data to pull from. We have the best large language models. There's nothing you can do to compete with us.
Well, what if we used you in our own AI models?
What? Why the heck would we give you access to our state-of-the-art AI?
I'll give you 10 billion reasons.
Jeez, that's kind of a lot, Tim. I
mean dollars, okay? Buckaroos.
I got it. Okay, that's fine. I understood it the first time.
We're willing to pay you.
I know, Tim. And then we'll make Siri better for you?
What if we helped you out a little bit with some money on the side?
Tim, I already just agreed. Okay, whatever. There's now multiple fairly reputable sources reporting similar news regarding Apple's generative AI projects, which is not exactly a rumor at this point. Tim Cook and other Apple executives have been hinting at it, promising that there will be more generative AI features unveiled later this year. So we're not just in leak territory, by the way, but Mark Gurman said Apple is in serious talks with Google about having access to their whole Gemini program for a lot of Apple's planned generative AI features. So this would be a hilarious collaboration between some of the biggest tech giants, but also more agencies came forward in agreement with Mark Gurman's report from Bloomberg, which means it's probably pretty accurate. No deal is, of course, finalized, but why would Apple turn to Google in this case? Well, I have been speculating, like we did on our most recent podcast, about Apple wanting to impress the investment community and try to get shareholders excited for the potential of AI features being baked into iOS. Apple, of course, has these state-of-the-art neural cores and all of their silicon, so they likely want to bake in a lot of, local processing, and they acquired companies like Darwin AI, which specialize in more efficient models that consume less energy while still creating some impressive AI features, whatever those end up looking like. It's yet to be seen, but I'm sure we'll find out at DubDub. But the main reason I think Apple is considering pulling from Gemini is because, of course, a lot of AI features can't necessarily be done locally, especially when it comes to searching for things like browsing the web in a more elegant and sophisticated manner. All of this is really just a reworking of digital assistants to make them more interactive and more aware of context and pick up on more social cues than what they currently do. So who knows how exactly Apple is going to brand this, but there's absolutely certain generative AI features that are likely going to require pulling from the internet. And there's only so many of these large language models that can exist in the world, so many like GPU and neural net training clusters that can be acquired, and of course the existing AI companies like OpenAI and Microsoft and Google, they're buying up all of this hardware for their massive neural net training farms as fast as they can. Apple's probably weighing out what's the most economical solution. Are they trying to compete with all of this server back-end infrastructure like everybody else, or do they just continue their existing partnership with Google? Oh yeah, in case you forgot, Apple still charges Google billions upon billions of dollars to keep them as the default search engine. Apple literally has to do nothing. They just keep everything the same, and Google continues to pay Apple. So I suppose maybe some of this deal is Apple gets a lot of training data from Google. They might even find a way to officially support Gemini within iOS, and Google gets either a fee or a commission from Apple, or perhaps they just substantially lower the price of keeping Google as the default search engine on iOS. It's definitely kind of shady. I mean, it's weird to think about, the one company in control of iOS and the other company in control of Android to be working together on bringing AI features to the masses. Like, I thought y'all hated each other and now you're collaborating. But I think the good news is we should get a better product, right? Like, I imagine that would result in a lot of very, very good generative AI features coming to the iPhone, coming to the Mac, while still being able to access all of those features. If you have a Chromebook or a Pixel, of course, less of those kinds of models can work natively because their silicon probably isn't going to be as efficient or as capable as Apple's silicon. But the government, I think, is going to be the biggest obstacle with this kind of collaboration. The general public, I think, might be a little confused but get on board with it fairly quickly. But if the federal government finds out that there's these kinds of big collaborations where instead of competing with each other, all of the big trillion-dollar corporations just keep handing money to themselves, that might scare a good number of regulators out there. But I'm sure Apple and Google, they've got the richest lawyers, they've got the best legal teams. They're going to be navigating this as closely as they can, figuring out what they can can and can't do collaboration-wise. Google's probably going to hold on to some of that secret sauce, and Apple is going to find a way to integrate Gemini kind of features into iOS in a way that's hopefully more privacy-focused, more security-focused, and as much of it being done on device without an internet connection as much as possible. But like so many of you, I'm still asking myself, what is all of this going to amount to? Apple is so good, typically, at finding ways of taking big, mainstream, techie subjects that are kind of mostly for nerds and bringing it down for the everyday person. I'm curious if that's going to turn into, I don't know, using AI features to edit my videos for me. That would be kind of nice. Or figuring out home screen layouts or something that are best optimized for your use cases and how you're using your phone, or moving things, erasing things in the Photos app, which is, again, kind of what we're already been doing for the past few years. But this hopefully is taking it to the next level. I'm hoping it makes Siri actually functional and useful and makes it feel like, oh, okay, we can actually talk to it like we would a normal person and it will understand us now. But we've been asking for a big Siri revamp for decades, it feels like. So I'm trying not to get my hopes too high on what kind of features they come up with. But it does get me somewhat excited for how software features that should, I think, for the most part, be free to a lot of iOS users, or at least more affordable than the other AI services out there that are all trying to charge a membership for it. What is Tim cooking, essentially? What is he working on? Why does he want to acquire these AI startups and be willing to pay billions of dollars to their biggest competitor? It must be because he's convinced this is a big field and it's going to make a big impact on our future. Or is it all just a fad? What do you guys think? Feel free to let me know your predictions down in the comments below. And thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. It seriously helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos. So thanks again. This is your Apple Sheep here, and I will see you all in the next one.